So Travis Head has scored 33.2% of all of Australia's runs so far in this series. Think about it. But also think about how we perceive Travis Head, the batter. Yes, he has taken the attack to India, probably the only Australian batter who's taken the attack to Jasprit Bumrah. But is it all risk? And it's funny how perceptions get made around certain batters in particular and then they just stick. Is he ultra aggressive? Yes, he is. Is he adventurous? Definitely he is. But what we perceive to be risks, I don't think Travis thinks of it in that similar fashion. I'm not saying he's risk averse. But for example, we all gasp when he cuts a ball on off stump line and hits it to backward point. But if you think about what he does it or the way he does it, there's method to his perceived madness. The way he crouches on leg stump and doesn't go back and across basically allows him to create room where other left-handers or batters in general cannot create room. And it's from that same base that he's able to whip balls of say middle and off and hit it backward or square leg. I mean, we all watch it and go, wow, there's so much risk laden with that shot. But I don't think he thinks he's taking any undue risk while playing any of those shots. Yes, occasionally he does jump out of his crease and like a lot of modern day batters tries to put the bowler off. But the reason why he's been able to be so consistent, stable, and all this inevitability that surrounds him scoring runs for Australia, especially if the new ball's been seen off or even if it's not in the last 3 or 4 summers, I think it's because he understands his game so well, and probably he's also a pioneer of what's to come next. Because is test match cricket in transition? Definitely it is. Is test match cricket being played in fast forward? Of course it is. But Travis Head is not a kamikaze batter. There are so many of those doing the rounds. So Rishabh Pant has his own ways of doing things, but he does, apart from the ramps and the reverse ramps, which he has control over, he will play that shot where he just jumps out of his crease and takes a wild swing. Ben Duckett does it for England. There are others as well in that English side. Probably the two guys I can think of in contemporary cricket who come close to Travis are Harry Brook for sure, who's dominating in Pakistan and New Zealand or in those conditions, and he scored runs in England as well. Or even Yashasvi Jaiswal, as he showed. Most number of sixes ever in a calendar year in Test cricket for the young kid from Mumbai. But also he showed that he can score 100 in tough conditions like the ones in Perth. And he scored at a strike rate of around 50. But I think moving forward, you'll see more and more batters of that nature come through. Test cricket the speed will keep going up. And there's always talk of should we have 4-day Test cricket. I mean, if we do go down to 4-day Test cricket, these guys will just bat quicker. Games will just finish earlier because that's the way the modern day batter thinks. Because a lot of them, obviously most of them, are raised on a heavy dose of white ball cricket. So it's so much more about hand-eye more than footwork as it used to be back in the day. No wonder just 5 balls outside off stump looks like a master stroke for a bowling group because most batters will feel for the ball. Usman Khawaja, Cheteshwar Pujara hasn't retired but doesn't play for India anymore, are probably the last of that kind of batters who can occupy the crease. And when the conditions are tough, and the WTC has ensured that the pitches are getting spicier around the world, the old adage was you see off spells, you dig in, but now it's gone the other way. The spicier the conditions, the more aggressive the batter tries to be, the more experimentative he or she tends to be, which is why we're seeing a lot of techniques and temperaments being exposed as soon as it gets too difficult to bat, whether it's against spin in the subcontinent or against seam in these conditions. The bowling averages are dropping, the batting averages are dropping, and just the current news of Nathan McSweeney being left out after 3 tests because Australia clearly want a counter-attacker at the top to keep themselves in the game against what Bumrah has to offer, kind of tells you where the traditional format of the game is headed. I thought McSweeney might have kept his place in the side for the resistance he showed in Adelaide, or even batting 13 overs in the first innings at the Gabba. But clearly Australia, it is obviously a statement on McSweeney that he's been left out, but also that they need more proactivity at the top. Otherwise, it all comes down to that one man, Travis Head, who if you think about it, has two tempos. There's the ODI slash test tempo, and then there's the T20 tempo where he just finishes games off in 3 or 4 overs. I think there's a lot more to Travis Head, as I've been saying and as I've written in my column, than him just taking risks and having this audacity to his batting. He does, but there is a lot of method to it, which is what I've tried to explain in this Weekenders column. And about 4-day Test cricket. Trust me, if we go down to 4 days, I wouldn't be surprised if in 10 years or so we might start talking about 3-day Test cricket, because the game's only getting quicker, and we all have to just adapt to it.